Well, hopefully, we're going to break down the funnel right now, Joe, and go into the details on this. I'm going to share with the folks some concepts here, and then maybe you can add some color, as Joe's take has added color all the way throughout this training. And let's get into the how-tos that really helping folks here. Let's talk about the current clients. And again, to me, the most likely person to get a referral from is the person you're working with right now. Scientifically, we know the term called a reticular activating system, which is a neurotransmitter that when something's important to an individual, it's like they grow a radar out the back of their head. It's like when you buy a brand new car, you see those cars all over the road. When my wife told me we were having twins, I saw twins everywhere. I developed a little letter that said, have you turned on your reticular activator? And this was a letter that I sent out along with an item of value that was designed to kind of get people thinking about my business and real estate and kind of do it in a fun way. And of course, on the Online Resource Center, we have this letter available, as well as just a straight-up introduction letter introducing yourself to your database. It's called It's Your Lucky Day. So both those letters that we're showing on the screen in the webinar right now are in the Online Resource Center, and a great way to start. What's your take on working with those current clients, Joe? For me, my goal was to get 2 leads prior to the close of the transaction with each customer. What was your take on current clients?
Well, I know this. Current clients are the most overlooked source of referrals in the business. I mean, because people, like you said, have the reticular activator up. They're engaging in conversations all the time. And they're excited about buying real estate. They're talking about it at work and in their social circles. So just like you, I would always pursue that opportunity, cultivate it, and I wanted to get a minimum of 1. Now, if I was working with a buyer, I wanted to get 1 before they actually purchased the home, 1 during the pending period, and 1 after it closed. Mm-hmm. So I'm just looking for 1 referral, 1 before, 1 during, and 1 after. Right? I'm not all that. I'm not asking for much. I'm just 1.
Yep.
And similar to a seller situation, many times it's a little bit more dicey working with the seller from the perspective of when I have a home listed, I won't be asking for a referral during the listing period until after we go under contract. Because once we go under contract, I start planting the seeds of how I'm motivated, why I do what I do, and I'm looking for 1 referral during the pending period, then another 90 days after the transaction closes. So the current clients is the most overlooked, but possibly the most lucrative opportunity to gain a referral from a client.
Sure, that's why we call them hot to trot, right? That's our code word for these guys. And so it's a beautiful thing. I think ultimately, just like you mentioned with the seller, I wouldn't ask for a seller referral to another seller because they're like, hey, don't you already have a property to sell? But I would ask sellers for referrals to buyers because I would say, you know what, you may not be aware of this. You probably know someone who's thinking about buying a home right now, and some of them might actually even be interested in buying your home. So I want you to be on the lookout for buyers. So I found it comfortable to ask for buyers, and it was a way to demonstrate value to an existing seller that I was out there kind of hustling, looking for leads. So again, we have a whole CD available just on this duplicating your current clients, and that's all built in there. Let's move to our next category, which is the past clients. Past clients, these are people that are the forgotten people in business. We do a great job with them. We serve them. We put a lot of time and energy into them. And then what happens is after the transaction, we kind of move on. And sometimes we let a lot of grass grow under our feet before we're in contact with them again. And that's why going back to see them after an extended period of time, sometimes agents feel guilty. And you know that this is the number 1 complaint to the National Association of Realtors, that my agent doesn't stay in contact with me after the sale. And so we have what we call a confession letter in the Online Resource Center. And you see a title there if you're looking at the webinar, and it says, "Hi, it's me." And so again, we recommend this is a great way, along with sending an item of value, that's part of your kit, to these past customers. Joe, what's your take on the past customers?
Well, we like to call them old faithfuls, because though they may seem dormant, they always perform and always produce. Mm-hmm. This group right here, I find it so fascinating. This is probably one of the most lucrative groups in my business from a perspective of long-term performance. And I've just gotten referrals over the years because this group right here already know who you are. they know what you do, and they've already done business with you. So there's a level of trust that's already been established. Now, this has been interesting. According to the National Association of Realtors, who's done a massive study and surveyed over 25,000 people that have either bought homes or sold homes through real estate agents, they asked them the question, would you use your agent again or refer your agent to others? What was the response? What percentage said that they would definitely use their agent again or refer their agent to others? It was 84%.
Wow.
If you think of that number, it's staggering. That's almost 9 out of 10 clients that we work. Now, I think that number is very, very attractive if you have one small detail in place, and that is if your clients remember who you are and how to get a hold of you.
Right.
Then that's a great statistic to have. But many times in our business, agents make the assumption that the clients are going to remember me. Of course, they have a picture hanging of me in the living room of their home, and I hate to ruin anyone's day, but that's not happening. We need to have a system in place to keep in contact with these people. It's a great opportunity.
Well, you mentioned Old Faithful, Joe, and you think about it. Here's one of America's national treasures in Yellowstone Park there. And here it is that you can count on this geyser spitting the water into the air to the point that they have a 100-seat kind of auditorium built around it because it's so consistent. But the key to Old Faithful shooting through the ground is the heat that's created under the ground, right? And so the heat in regards to getting those past customers is staying in contact with them, sending them items of value, putting your calls in, doing the pop-bys. I think when you keep the heat of contact with your past customers, they're going to spout just like Old Faithful, and they'll be Old Faithful. After all, these are the people who are 84% of them want to refer you if you'll just stay in contact. So the resources are there. We've given you the dialogues. We've given you the tools. We've given you the pop-by tags. We've given you the items of value. We've given you the e-reports. We've given you every excuse in the world to keep the heat under those past clients. Now you just got to go do it. The next category, I'm going to kind of bunch three together here, Joe, which is sphere of influence, friends and family, social circles. Your sphere of influence, the people you'd send a card to at the holidays. Your friends and family, that's an obvious statement. And then social circles, where you live, where you interact, where you socialize. To me, the reason I group all these three together is that these are what I call the presumed upon. This is a presumed upon group. We just presume that these guys are thinking about us. We presume that if these folks had a referral, they'd give it to us. We presume these people are in our corner. But our coaching has shown that this is the most neglected group in a realtor's database. Most businesses just overlook these people all the time. And so this whole dynamic of connecting your sphere of influence, sending out an item of value, following up with them. But I think the key here is these folks got to be asked. And this is where we develop this gentlest of reminder dialogue built on Peter Fox Columbo. Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals. Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals. So this is a group we're going to send items of value to. We're going to send e-reports to. We'll definitely do pop-bys by. But then we also got to let them know we're open for business and we're excited about business without being pushy. So, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals. What's your take on working with that sphere of influence, friends and family, and the social circles?
This group right here would probably get you the quickest referral because those are the people that are closest to you. And like you said, many times these folks are overlooked because, they're so close to you. You just assume that they're thinking of you. Possibly many agents take them for granted. I like to refer to this group right here, the sphere of influence, friends and family, and social circles. I like to refer to them as the soak zone. Have you ever been to SeaWorld?
Oh, yeah.
And you watch Shamu do his thing where he jumps up out of the air and does a big belly flop?
Right.
And it's those people sitting in the zone, the soak zone, closest to the water that get wet. And they get the splash. Well, we have a soak zone in our business. And we need to make sure that we're splashing and getting our people that are closest to us, getting them wet with our request for referrals or the value that we bring to them and our notes and calls and Popeyes, they need to be in that soak zone. For me, I'm one of 8 children. Growing up on the south side of Chicago, I started right there with friends and family with a yellow pad of paper. You know, they were the soak zone, and I soaked them with items of value. I soaked them with calls. I soaked them with personal notes, and then I would use the gentlest of reminders. Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals.
Sure.
And the referrals came in.
So these are people who we categorize. We have the A-plus people, the best part of our database, the advocates. We have the A's and we have the B's. The A-plus, A's, B's, I mean, these are the ones we need to be splashing on, and we need to splashing by with Popeyes and seeing these people and bringing them the little gifts and taking them to lunch and acknowledging, appreciating these people. In SeaWorld, you sit in blue seats, and that's how you know you're in the soak zone. And we need to make sure that our database, that these folks are blue, that they're getting our attention, our effort, and it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding when we do there because, you know, you get soaked by referrals. That's a nice thing to do. You know what I mean? That soaking produces cash flow. I know that's for sure. So I like that. Let's talk about this next category, which is the business relationships. Now, we obviously have a segment talking about breaking bread with customers in Peak Producers. We really want to focus on the business relationships. We've included in the Online Resource Center what we call the hidden sources of wealth, because this is such a common opportunity that's overlooked. It's who are all the people you refer business to. You know, when I'm giving business to somebody else, I'm their A or A-plus person. But a lot of times we don't leverage that A or A-plus status. Now, it's not I gave you, now you owe me, but it's kind of like this dynamic of I'm here for you, and I just want you to know I'm also available for referrals. So this is a way to kind of organize that list and download that hidden sources of wealth, and it's a great memory jogger to be able to identify the business relationships you have. What's your take on the business relationships part of the funnel, Joe?
This is probably the most comfortable area to work because you're not dealing with family or friends, or you don't have to worry about stepping on any toes. These are business people. They understand the concept of referral. They're in business just like you. And like you often say, you know, one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face. You know, this group, the business relationships, embody that proverb.
Right.
You know, and I like to call this group, because we're often mixing with this group on a regular basis. Business relationships is the mix list. You know, this is a list that you're constantly mixing and mingling with. And just by your mere presence, there's a business element to the relationship. And you could be more direct and more transparent and more straightforward. And people appreciate that. I know in my business, I put together a referral directory, and I learned that from you. And as I put together my referral directory, I went through this list of people that I would refer to on a regular basis. You know, the roofer, the painter, the electrician, the plumber. And those became part of my mix list.
Sure.
And it just became systematic. Once a quarter, we'd get together, and it just became, who do you know that can use my services? And it's a great opportunity, and it's a real comfortable place to do business.
Well, you know, Joe, with our ongoing members, we've provided an actual referral directory where they get to build this business network and then make it something they post on their website that their clients then access, and they have access through the agent to this business network. You know, we have at Peak Producers, we have the whole business mixer where we're encouraging all the students at Peak Producers to do a business mixer. I mean, this is such a great hidden source of wealth. And like you said, a business person is very comfortable with you asking them for a referral because in their own heart, that's what they want to do themselves. So you're right, it's the mixed list, and we got to kind of mix it up with these folks. Last but not least, we're going to talk about having an online network. It's a modern world we're living in, Joe, whether it's Facebook or Twitter and many other formats, LinkedIn. There are many, many sources and many sources to come in the future of an online network. What's your advice to someone on how they can utilize an online network as part of an overall database?
Well, you know, you can use your online network as a memory jogger as you build your database, as you're identifying those relationships and building. But I would say this is, don't be mistaken. You know, don't be seduced to go and many folks say, well, I have a database, it's called Facebook or whatever social media site they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the online network is an enhancer or a catalyst to what you already have in place. So I think it's a valuable tool. I wouldn't overestimate its value, but I wouldn't underestimate it either. I would use it appropriately, but make sure that I have the good old-fashioned relationship in place and it gets built upon with the online network.
And obviously, we've done a live webcast on the Online Resource Center dedicated to just this aspect of the business and of working by referral. So we've got a comprehensive training on that we want you to go explore. Bottom line is it should be considered part of your overall strategy towards your database.